You know, there are some people who are born with rich parents. There are other people who are not born with rich parents. And then there are us creative figuring out how to try to make a buck. Okay, welcome back. This is Cetriya, C-E-T-R-I-Y-A, and although I am smiling, being tired is my constant companion. So what did I do this week? So let's just start with the fact that I was planning to start off another series of 100 Days of Making Comics, but midway through day 3, because I was pre-recording them before I batch edit them, I went way deep under the clouds or whatnot, but it has been one hell of a crazy week. So what were my plans for this week? Quite a number of things. First off, I'd like to share with a project that I kind of started. I started with chapter 1 and have now put on hold, and it was meant to be a light novel, young adult novel, just a writing story, and it was supposed to be called Infinite Aquaelle, and it's a sort of isekai, person from another world going into a video game world, but with a twist at it in terms of the actual timing, or was it somewhat in the future, and some other things, but I don't want to spoil it, especially once I get to the story. But basically I had started out with general sketches of the characters that I want for the design and really wanted to have fun with this project, but after I wrote the first about 500-ish words, I realized that there was no way I was going to have time to do it, and quite frankly I want to go ahead and dedicate to working on my 2 comics and then working on another project, probably starting at the start of next year, and I really want to get towards making chapter 3 because I have not been doing it, and it's not really nice to the readers that I've gathered. So this week I went ahead and worked on the rough drafts for chapter 2 of the current webtoons comic that I'm working on, Accelerated Squares. One day at work it was pretty slow, so I went ahead and worked on the rough thumbnails, and although I kind of like this method, I'm wondering if I can go from here directly to a much cleaner pencils, because I feel like I'm redoing the roughs over again, or maybe printing them out and then drawing on top, but we shall see about that. But basically I went ahead and did the rough for all the scenes, and I'll go ahead and do a more finalized version so that way I can get straight into the inks. I haven't colored the first chapter, but hopefully I get that chapter in pretty quickly. There's quite a bit of challenge with this comic. There's like weird perspectives that I want to try out, more of my fight scenes and stuff like that, trying to reuse certain panels and things like that, so that has been pretty good. So one last thing I thought I'd share with you guys, I've purchased these books. Let's see if I can get it here. There you go. I purchased these books a while back from Japan, and if you don't recognize this series, this is called Banner of the Stars, Crest of the Stars series, and they're redoing the manga with a different artist, and I really like the artist. I mean, let me just see if I can share with you. The other reason why I like it also is the fact that I feel like the style of the work is closer to some of the details that I'd like to show up eventually in my art style. So I bought their work for preference. I also really love some of the panel work. So let me go ahead and take a quick flip through. And the interesting thing is this artist does everything digital. Like, I can tell by the way the things are inked that this is definitely not done by hand at all. There's also weird kind of toning that goes up that I can tell is not done digitally, is not done by hand or analog. So I like it because it really does makes me get a sense of how, the people over who started with this kind of, screen tone style would interpret it in a digital atmosphere. Also love a lot of some of the vehicle designs, the panel work. So hopefully you know, it gives me so much examples of how to render certain backgrounds, how to render all the textures and stuff, because a lot of manga that's being put out, and I'm sure there's plenty of sci-fi manga that I just don't know about them, but a lot of manga that's coming out right now are very whatchamacallit, fantasy heavy. This is a part where you can tell this is pretty much, I feel like it's done digitally. Like, there's just something about it that says digital to me, and then the way this was erased, it feels digital to me. Who knows, I might be lying, but yeah, a lot of manga right now is coming out is very, you know, fantasy, and they don't have like examples of how to render something going into warp, let's see, or slipstream or whatever. Like, how do you render, how would they render something going into warp? How would they render, you know, crash and actions and speed in space? And how would you render digital or see-through user interface, yeah, computer interfaces and floating computer screens and stuff like that. Let me see. I think number 2 is the one that has, there you go. I think, like, this is just really nice. So there was a nice page in here. There's a couple of nice pages in here. I hope I am, you know, giving this justice, and the panel work is really unique in terms of fighting battleships versus, you know, humanoid mechas. I appreciate that. So a lot of times people ask me, like, this is really cool, all of this 3D work is really cool, and people have asked me, you know, how is it that my stuff looks so well or so good? And I don't think it looks that up to par yet. I'm definitely at the level of someone who's hobby like, or a serious hobby, and that's basically, you know, you gotta buy these books for reference, and it's not that expensive. It cost me about $12 a book, which is the going rate at buying a manga, or a graphic novel in general, black and white ones in America anyways. So sometimes you just need to buy reference, and I pull off a lot of reference. Like, this is really cinematic. Anyways, that's enough of me showing off my collections on me so far. And then this is all in 1 week, mind you. I have to say that I know a lot of you out there are probably having kids, family, friends, and also I was on the Artcasters podcast that talks about balancing artwork and projects, and having multiple projects and stuff like that. So I am, you know, single by myself, so I don't have to worry about, you know, other family other than helping out my parents now and then. But I do work full time, and it can be real hard on a person to come from work and then going straight to doing this, on top of the fact that I don't have that much energy. And lately at work, and I won't get too far into that, but lately at work, it's definitely coming to a point where I really need to work on an exit strategy, because I've just accepted the fact that it's a mix between they're not doing things that I want to be a part of in terms of the way the company decides to do things, and in general, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm starting to actually lose money, where I'm not making enough. And it's not them, it's just, you know, I'm not making enough per hour to cover certain living expenses. And I look at it as down the road. Like, right now I can cover my expenses, but if something were to happen to me right now, I don't have enough savings for me to deal with that emergency. And I'm just thinking, if I were to work at this place for 5-10 plus years, that I would not have a significant amount of savings, and it's just not good. It's just not a good way of doing things. And I know a lot of times people look at the job that I'm doing, oh, it's really cool, you know, but I do work a design job that isn't really creatively fulfilling, but it takes up a lot of my energy. So I'll probably be switching out of that pretty soon. So this, I may have mentioned, was the roughs for the comic and chapter 3, and today I'm going to go ahead and take my time to really focus on working out the proper layouts for these pages, and hopefully this week or maybe next weekend, I'll be able to start on the actual real pencils for chapter 3. And I really want to get into the focus of doing my my chapter per month, or at least a month and a half schedule, because I've been really behind it and it should not take me like 8 months to do 2 chapters. So we're gonna get into that. But anyhow, the last bit of thing I wanted to maybe do a quick chat while I show you a quick speed up drawing of me working on my process, and that is that I do have a number of other projects. Number one, if you want to read the first 500 words of Infinite Aquaelle, I will leave a link below and you can take a look at it, or you can sign up for my mailing list and I'll be sending you, whenever I do those kind of things, I'll go ahead and send you links to where you can read them. Feel free to leave your comments below on any comments that you have for my comic, or anything that you want me to maybe give my opinion on when it comes to being a creative and being a very tired and sleepy creative all the time. Unfortunately, coffee does not work for me other than give me a really bad stomach. But last but not least, I had mentioned that I'm trying to keep my videos to once a week, and I will. And it's not because I don't want to do videos, it's just because I have these multiple projects, for example the comic, and I really want to focus my energy on working on these 2 comics, and I want to focus my energy on creating a couple of more illustration projects that I have in my mind. Inktober is going to be coming pretty soon in the next 2 months, and I want to prep for that. And there's just so many other things that I want to do, and I only could do so many after I work essentially 40 hours a week. I'm in the midst of moving from one apartment to the next. Hopefully that'll help things too, because it costs much less for that second apartment. I got a pretty nice deal. It helps to know people, and after that, that'll be about it. So what we're gonna get is pretty much kind of weekly vlogish, not vlogish, but kind of weekly vlogish things, where I talk about what I did for the week, and throughout the videos I'll go ahead and spread a couple of tips once I get to there, maybe something I learned that week that I feel that you guys would be interested in. So you guys, again, let me know what your thoughts are on the comments below, and thanks again for watching, and thank you to all the new subscribers. I'm sure you guys came from wherever else kind of collab, or you randomly stumbled to my stuff. I really appreciate you guys following me, and I will see you guys in the next video.